Kelly here from Body Fit Solutions. Just wanted to give you a nice little Christmas workout with some of the functional moves that we use within our classes, something that you can do quite easily at home. I've got a pair of dumbbells, so anywhere between 2 kilos, maybe to 5 kilos would be appropriate, depending on your strength levels. You could also do this without any weights. A lot of the exercises can be done without the weights. What I'm going to do is go through each individual exercise, and then at the end I'm going to put it together and give you a little description underneath of about how to organize the exercises. So I'll give you some modifications as well, and enjoy. So the first exercise is going to be a little dumbbell exercise lunge. Now if you come to our classes, then you will know how to do this little deep lunge. So it's very different than a traditional lunge where we kind of step forward and then come back. This lunge is actually a low lunge, so it's quite close to the other leg. So what we want to do is get into our standing posture, have the back knee bent slightly, drag the front heel, so we're not going into hyperextension, we're lifting up through the center of the body. And then we're going to come down so that the knee arrives pretty much by the heel. Okay, then we're going to push back up, nice and tall. So you could do this without weight. If you're struggling to get down into this position, you might just be able to put a little block there. Imagining you're kind of picking up something in front of you. That's the idea. And then we push and drag the heel back as we come back up. Okay, so that is modification 1. Now if you can't come down into these deep lunges, I want you to go to our hip releasing videos. So we've got exercises where we release the front of the hips, release the quads, release into the sides of the leg and the IT band, and I'll put that underneath in the description as well so that you can go back to those videos first before you come and do these lunges. But we do recommend that you try and get closer and closer to that lunge position. So that's our option 1, is just to do it without any weight, just going down and going up. And I would go for 8 to 10 repetitions of that. Now option 2 is to have a dumbbell on the opposite side. So we're here and then coming back up. So it just gives a little bit of weight. I'll show you at the front and up. And if you wanted to and you were strong enough and you felt good, that you could lift the weight up, but obviously don't lift it if you're starting to go into a back bend. So that's option 2, just to have a little bit of weight. So I would have it on the opposite shoulder to your leg. Option 3 is if you've been doing a little bit in class, then what we're going to do is go into a swing and then come into the lunge. So swing and come into the lunge. So I've got my right hand holding the dumbbell. I'm going to step with my left leg, swing, and then I'm going to step through on that left leg, drop down my right leg. Okay, now this is only if you've been doing stuff with us in class. Please use option 1 or 2 if you haven't done these kind of exercises before. Okay, the second exercise is coming down into a plank position. And so we're going to go into the knees as option 1, and we're going to go into a little one-sided pull. So I'm going to press into the ground and pull the other arm up. Okay? So that's option 1. Option 2 is if you're in a really strong plank, the heels reaching back, lengthening through the front of you, the legs are a little bit wider, so have a good base of support, but we don't want to be sagging in the back. So if you feel anything in the back, please go down to option number 1. Okay, so a nice little pull on each side with a little bit of rotation. Option 3 is adding your weight, okay, so level 3 of that option. And I chose today to stay on one side and then change to the other side. So doing 8 to 10 repetitions on both sides. Just go to where you feel you're keeping good form and you're fatiguing, you're feeling the challenge of it, but you're not compensating your position to do it, okay? So what I would do is do that lunge position first, followed by the plank. And you would do each side alternating for 10, or do the single side for a few repetitions and then the other side for a few repetitions. Then I would come back up and do a second set of that. So doing the lunges again and then coming back and doing the plank. So you do 2 sets of that. After you've done those 2 sets, you're going to come actually down still on the floor, and we're going to do kind of a modified mountain climber twist kind of activity. So option 1, you're in your quadruped. We're going to bring the knee into the elbow and reach back out. So knee to elbow, reach back out. Knee to elbow, reach back out. Option 2 is if you're quite confident in the plank, you're going to cross the leg over to the opposite knee. Okay? And I would just say do about 30 seconds of those exercises. If you're really quite conditioned, you're going to do the knee to the chest, alternating arm and leg. I'll just show you from the front. Make sure you're breathing. And I can only do about 8 of those. So really listen to your body, challenge it, maybe go for a time, 30 seconds worth, or do it for 10 repetitions. And that's your little kind of cardio burst after you've done those 2 sets. So set number 2, we're going to be doing a swing squat. So we're going to have both of the weights in hand. And again, if you're having any knee trouble, hip trouble, or anything like this, please don't do anything that causes pain. Make sure you consult your doctor, physio, whoever you're under treatment with, to make sure that you're supported enough to do this exercise. So come see a professional before doing this workout. This is really only for people that are already conditioned or already coming to our classes. So, swing squats, what we're going to do is get into our lovely standing posture. So in our standing posture, we want the pelvis to come back over the ankle, over the knee. So I don't want to be in that position. And I want to find space up through the knees, through the hips, through the torso, coming into this lovely standing posture. So I'm going to start to swing my arms, trying to maintain the spin. You can see my pelvis is wanting to go there. So I'm trying to maintain that good posture. As the weights go down, I'm going to go down into a hinge type squat. So I'm really bending at the hips coming up. You could do this without weight, okay? So if you're feeling any challenge in your back, you're going into back extension. Okay, so if your back is going into there, we need to really focus on coming through the hips. Please only do this if you are in good standing posture. So if you're compressed, then as you go, you're going to go into that compression at the top. What's really helpful for me is taking a flex band, so quite a strong Dynaband, and attaching it around the back of my knees and attaching it to a secure surface, maybe a banister or something that isn't going to move. And as you tie that band around, you get some resistance in there. And then when you do the swing squat, you're going to have that support behind the knee. So that is really, really helpful. So we have the swing squats. I would do 15 repetitions or 30 seconds worth of work. And then we're going to go into a little lunge with rotation. So I'm going to have my left foot forward, my right arm holding the dumbbell, leaning forward with length. You can see from the back of my heel through my body. So I don't want to be in a hunched position. I really try and lengthen through the abdominal wall so the navel's in and up, the chest is pointing forward. And then I'm going to do a little reach rotate. I like to keep the back leg bent a little bit when I start to rotate, just so that I get the back of the leg really working. And after even about 4 repetitions of this, my left back of the leg is really, really working. So if you're doing this well, and you've got a heavy enough weight, and you're in the good form, and you're not hunching your back, you should feel this by kind of 10 to 15 reps, okay? Then I would do the other side, make sure you're balanced, do the same on that side, and then go back for a second set of your swing squats, with or without the band, with or without the weights, and then another set of your lunge with rotation. Following that, we're going to do a little skater. So option 1 is just a really big step touch. Really big step touch. Watch you don't have any apparatus around. Okay, option 2 is a little bit more of a hop. You can tap if you want. Breathing. And option 3 is holding your dumbbell carefully. What's really helpful too, if you don't connect with your center very well, is pressing the hands together so that you feel that connection of your obliques and keep that press as you go from side to side. So that can be really helpful for connecting into the core. So after we've done that set twice, we're going to come down onto the floor and do our kneeling plank position on the forearms. Okay, so this is really important that we get the right position here. We want to have a little angle at the hips, and then you're going to come into this kneeling plank with the knees up. So I don't want to drop the pelvis too low. Kind of want to be in a straight line from my head to the pelvis. The pelvis is slightly tipped forward. Okay, so the hips are going to the ribs. Then potentially there will be this hunching of the upper back. So I've got to tilt the pelvis and lengthen so the chest opens. So the belly wall is spreading and lifting gently. The navel is coming forward, the chest is expanding. Now this is really hard. So if it's not hard for you, you've got to find that alignment where it feels like the lower belly is really lifting softly. You're not dropping the belly out to the floor. And holding there. Breathing at least for 3. If you start feeling your position falter, come back out of it, have a little breather, and then come back in. So that can be quite challenging just to get into that position. I would do that 3 to 5 times, holding for about 3 seconds, and build up your endurance. Option 2, once we get that alignment, tilt the pelvis, is you're going to, and you probably can't see that very much, I'm pressing down one leg into the floor to release the other leg. And it's really taking time so that you melt down into the one leg. You don't want to have twisting in the pelvis, so the other leg can lift up. Okay? So I would do 30 seconds of work, or do that for 3 times. If you're not lifting the legs, 3 to 5 times. If you are lifting the legs, go for about 4 to 6 repetitions. It's quite challenging. So if it doesn't feel challenging, go back, regress, and make sure that without the legs lifting, you're getting the right sensation there. Okay, and then we're going to come onto our backs. Okay, we're going to do a little bridge, focusing on the legs going forward, the pelvis slightly tipped, and I'm going to press into one leg, lifting the other leg. Now as my right leg lifts, I'm going to press into my left hand. I lied. As my left leg lifts, I'm going to press into my left hand and reach the other arm across. So my right leg is lifting, my left arm is coming across. Okay? If this is too much to stay up there, come down and then up, down. And that's quite challenging. The final exercise there with our little core exercises is your right leg bent, your right arm up. I'm going to roll over to the elbow and sit nice and tall, and then roll back down. And roll, and back down. 5 of those. Now if you struggle with that, I would suggest that you just lift up a little bit, or actually just lifting the leg, touching in, and reaching the arm and leg away. Touching in, and reach the arm and leg away, so that you're connecting through your center. So 5 on each side. So I would roll up here. So just make sure the same arm as leg is up, rolling onto the elbow and coming down. So 5 of those. And so I would do 2 sets of that. My lights went off. So 2 sets of the mat work that we just did, and that should give you about a 20 to 30 minute workout. All right? So hopefully you enjoyed that and that made sense. And I'll do a real-time explanation underneath of all those exercises in order. All right? Hopefully you have a good holiday season. Take care, bye.